What up everybody, Demon back, and today is another one of those videos that I will be doing, which was a special request from a subscriber. This is a longtime sub, David Brown. Joining me today is Wolf of Dimensions.
Hey guys, and I'd like to say David Brown is actually a subscriber to me too, so this is a pretty interesting situation we got going.
Yeah, David was both one of our original subscribers, and he's been nice. He's down there in the comments a lot. If you're watching this, David, you probably are because you requested it. Thank you for the support.
Yes, thank you indeed, because I think you don't realize that I think you help both of our channels a lot more than I think you realize fully.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of your feedback inspired both of us to continue pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. Um, this episode we're going to be talking about the MUTOs versus Cloverfield, a special request from David.
Oh boy, goody goody. Here we go. So, starting off for Cloverfield, it's an alien monster that I think we know of, correct? Or am I just assuming?
Yeah, from my understanding of it, and it's been a while since I've seen Cloverfield, so from my understanding of it, it's an alien monster.
Okay. So, and then you have MUTOs, which are earthbound monsters. That's the first difference.
Yep. So I guess right off the bat, before we get into the topic of the video, um, I was unclear on whether David wanted us to break down who we thought would win in a fight or which one I liked more, because he commented on a video that I was doing discussing which one I liked, King Kong or Godzilla, more. So to clear it up right now, I do like the Mutos a lot more than I like Cloverfield Monster, just because the Mutos are Godzilla monsters, and overall I thought they were cooler.
Personally, I'd have to agree with you. I'm more of a MUTO fan. Basically, I like how Cloverfield looks, but personally, out of design, the MUTOs are just so interesting, so unique. Their powers are so unique. I just can't help but like them. So I agree with you. They're my favorites too, out
Yeah.
of the bias.
So getting into who would win a fight between them. Um, so one thing that me and Wolf have discussed quite a bit is the size of the Muto, or the size of the Cloverfield monster. Um, because the Cloverfield monster is actually quite a bit smaller than the Mutos.
Yeah, I averaged the hideout, and it's about the size of 54 Goji, or a bit taller. So either way, it's not very. It's like Godzilla versus the literal size King Kong of 25 feet. So it's not a very good matchup. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to scale up the actual monsters to
Yes.
size.
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing is the Cloverfield monster we found to be like around 120 feet tall. So for the purposes of this fight, we are going to say that the one in the movie wasn't full grown, and that it's about 200 feet tall, full grown. So we're going to be doing a 200-foot tall Cloverfield versus the Mutos.
Which would mean that it would be basically in the middle between both the female and male, which makes it a good size point.
Yeah, because the male Muto is about 150 feet, if I'm not wrong in
Yeah,
saying.
and the female is 300, I think.
Yeah. So it's in between the two of them. And I guess talking in terms of like overall design, the two are fairly similar. The Cloverfield monster has a more organic feel to it than the Mutos do, but overall they're kind of the same body structure. It's just in the actual Mutos, I guess, um, texture, they're quite a bit different. They're more mechanical looking. Um,
I
so yeah,
I kind of believe that The MUTOs have more base to them. I feel like the Cloverfield monster is not built for fighting because its bone structure doesn't really look too strong. If you look at it closely, I don't think it's a fighting monster. I believe that its bones and its body would not hold up against the MUTOs, especially an electric shockwave that could potentially damage its body.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about the Cloverfield monster is we have never seen it in an actual fight, so we don't know how it would do in terms of combat. But based off looking at it, I think the only advantage it has over the Mutos is the fact that it has hands. The Mutos only have the claws, and the Cloverfield monster has what looks like to be uh, more along the lines of opposable fingers, like they can move and all. Although they are claw-like, I think it holds the advantage in terms of that.
Well, yes, that is actually very true, but that's where it comes down is that MUTOs fight in tandem tactics. They fight as a team or a unit because that's how they kill their prey, is usually in a group of two. So that would have to mean that for this creature to win, it would have to be able to take on both of them, unless there was only a one-on-one fight, which would mean that the MUTO would probably be on equal grounds.
So let's talk about it like kind of in terms of the 2014 movie. Let's say to start, the male Muto goes up against the Cloverfield monster before the female Muto enters the fight. So let's just break down the one-on-one really fast.
Yeah, let's do that. So what would happen was is that they'd both run into each other, of course, at the beginning, and as they fought, I feel like there would be a lot of deciding factors by the MUTO, like the electronic pulse,
Yeah, to see if that would have any effect on it. I would assume that it wouldn't, only because they have confirmed that the purpose of the Mutos having the EMP was to cancel out the atomic breath of a Godzilla. So that's what that originally does. Even though we did not see that in the movie, they have confirmed that. So I don't think, because the Cloverfield monster doesn't appear to have some sort of beam attack, I wouldn't assume that the EMP would do something against it.
which is actually quite true. You see, what I was thinking was is that if you notice its head shape and its ears, I really believe it has very sensitive hearing,
Yeah,
and
it's almost bat-like.
yeah, that's where I was going with the EMP. Now it is possible that that's not true, but I'm just saying I feel like the Muto has an advantage also because it can fly.
Yes, that's one thing. The Cloverfield monster from the movie appeared to be pretty slow, and the male Muto can fly around pretty fast from what we've seen, so I think he would definitely hold that advantage.
All he'd have to do is eventually just wear it down to the point where he could attack it. The only reason Godzilla had a major advantage is because besides being a close hand-to-hand fighter, he had his tail as well.
Yeah,
And the Cloverfield monster doesn't have a tail.
uh-uh. So, or even if it does, because all the pictures of it, or all we've seen of it, it's more from the front. But even if it does, because there is a slight thing that comes off the back of it, there's no way it's as powerful as 2014's tail. Because it
No,
looks like it's just kind of like wavy, and his was more uh, bone and like meat and muscle.
okay, my point is, even on one, the Mutos, and this is where the EMP part that you told me about comes important, were designed to fight Godzilla.
Yep.
Whereas this creature, we don't know what it was designed for. It doesn't look like it would hold up well in a fight. So my money is really on the Muto because the other creatures just doesn't look like it's built for fighting, and it doesn't look like it would last too long anyways.
The only other advantage that I could see of the Cloverfield monster is if you look, it looks to have a very powerful jaw. So if it was somehow able to bite down onto the male Muto's neck, if it was able to get him up close, bite down on his neck, I could see him taking the male Muto out of the fight for a little bit. But then when the female Muto comes, I think it would be done. I think the female Muto would just annihilate it.
Yeah, it would be full blown obliteration because the female Muto is probably very much stronger. It's bigger built and it has a bigger design overall than the other Muto already.
Uh huh.
So, in my opinion, final verdict for me is that the Mutos would definitely win this fight.
Agreed.
So
I think they seem to be sleeker, faster. Like they could move around him a lot quicker. They seem to be more powerful. I don't think he would hold up. I don't think he would last very long.
especially if it was both of them fighting him like Godzilla in the thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the Mutos. They beat Godzilla. You had to pay attention, but the only reason that Godzilla was able to win the fight in end was because first of all, Ford blew up the nest, which distracted them both and gave Godzilla time to recover. Second of all, Godzilla was able to get them both one on one.
Yeah, which really defeat. You see, Mutos evolved to defeat the Godzillas, so I'm not really surprised. So in the end, the Cloverfield monster, while it could probably beat Baragon, could, and I like Baragon, but I could probably beat Baragon or Zilla. It's definitely Zilla. Zilla would probably, unless it's Zilla Junior. Probably would not last too long in a fight with Muto. And that's my final verdict. Any final words you want to say before we sign off here?
Oh, actually, I was going to bring up the possibility of 10 Cloverfield Lane's Alien.
Oh yeah, that thing. Thank you
Be-
for me.
yeah, there's not a ton to say about this, about the alien from that movie, but the thing that the deciding factor for me, because I know Wolf hasn't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, but the deciding factor in this fight for me um, is the fact that the 10 Cloverfield Lane thing is almost like an alien ship, and it's just a living alien ship. But we've also seen that it can spew poisonous gas, and I think that the poisonous gas, because we know it decays organic material, it kills living things. I think that is where that alien would hold the advantage over the female Muto. So I think that that monster would be able to kill the female Muto with the gas, but the fact that the male Muto's a flyer, I think he'd be able to take down the monster in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
And you see about that because I'm thinking about that. The EMP could possibly work on the flying creature. Also, the fact that this flying alien that you're talking about, which again I haven't had the chance to see, it reminds me a lot of Orga.
So, about the EMP, I definitely think that the EMP would stand a shot against it because it does look to be a living creature crammed into an alien ship that appears to be running off of electricity only because we see it has lights. But assuming it might be some sort of space technology, doesn't really matter because I think the EMP would be able to knock it down.
Yeah. So to me, EMP is what is this battle in this situation.
Yeah. So overall, in our opinions, the Mutos would win both the fights. Also, we both think that the Mutos are just cooler creatures, better designed creatures.
Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Wolf of Dimensions, and here we have
D-Man 1954. I hope you enjoyed our first real collaboration. D-Man out.